When I interned at Pixar in 2009, I kept hearing the same phrase over and over again: story is king. And honestly, that line hit me like a live wire, because what they meant was, if your story is weak, no amount of beautiful animation will save it. And as a young filmmaker, that shook me. I remember thinking, what if I spend years making something and it just isn't good? That fear followed me early in my career. I tried to compensate by polishing everything visually, every frame, every effect. But deep down I knew visuals alone were not enough. But I didn't have a grasp of storytelling yet and what made a story work. Then I realized something. A lot of classic anime, especially from the 80s to early 2000s, only has about 7 minutes of real animation per episode. The rest is clever editing, still shots, background, sound, pacing, etc. But we don't notice it because the story and characters of the best anime are doing the heavy lifting. It isn't about more animation, it's about meaningful animation. They're very resourceful with what they do because they put the emphasis on the story first. And that brings me to my first real animated short film, Fighting Spirits, which I finished in 2012 and started in 2010. It was my college thesis film and I spent 2 years on it. Visually, it was the most polished thing I'd ever made. Cyberpunk ballerinas, but the story didn't exist. You know, we didn't know what these ballerinas wanted, what their goals were, what was at stake, their histories. It was just spectacle. It was basically a concept art piece come to life, but it wasn't a movie. But despite its weaknesses, something wild happened. It got shortlisted for a Student Academy Award in 2012 once I finished it. I thought a lifelong dream, an Oscar nomination, was about to come true. But it didn't. And honestly, the film that did get nominated deserved it more. It's an amazing film. It was called Shinobi Blues, and it was by a very talented animator named Mike Liu. I remember after the screening when I was trying to get over it and just process all my feelings, somebody told me, kindly but directly, you know, the story for your film was weak. And that stung a bit at the time, but that was exactly what I needed to hear. So I realized that focusing on storytelling, that's where I needed to go. So I went all in. I devoured every storytelling book I could find. The Writer's Journey, Story, Pixar storytelling. I built my own system of engineering stories, if you will. You know, I figured out what the essentials were. What does the character want? Why do they want it? What happens when they fail? What truth does the story explore? You know, these things are some of the necessary components that each story has to make clear, each film has to make clear to the audience. Otherwise, the audience is left confused without anything to hold on to or relate to. Fighting Spirits had none of these things. As part of my journey into becoming a better storyteller as well, I then watched 60 Oscar-winning and Sundance short films, along with other short films that had won other awards, breaking each one down beat by beat. So I'd watch them and I'd analyze them. I reverse engineered the story engines, the character goals, the turning points, etc. Suddenly, what made a good story, what made a powerful story, wasn't a mysterious thing. It was architecture. It was engineering. It was something that you could control and build. That shift in how I approach story changed everything, because my biggest fear that all my hard work working on a film would amount to nothing finally had a solution. If the story is strong, then your visuals matter more. Your craft finally lands. And so that mindset, the story first mindset, is what made One Last Monster possible. So I gotta hand it to Pixar. They were right. Story really is king. And learning that the hard way is what gave me the world of Adin. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support the work I'm doing with this channel and One Last Monster, please consider becoming a Patreon. I'll put the link here. And have a great day. Thank you.